Namaste, everybody, and welcome to a class on Bhagavad Gita. Today, the class is going to be slightly different in the format. Firstly, I request everybody to please mute your cameras, and whoever is speaking can then unmute their cameras. So the first thing is, through the week we have been receiving many inputs and suggestions. So I thought that we should have an exercise in terms of trying to understand why we assume these things, or why we give certain importance to certain things. And as I have said, so let us start. Meena madam is first because she was really vociferous in the whole class, and I mean in the whole process. And I found it very interesting, her views on many things. So, Meena madam, over to you. And whenever you are ready to take questions, please let me know.
Sir, as you last asked me to character sketch of Yudhishthira, from whatever I have been reading through the Mahabharata, Yudhishthira was born after no Kunti had got the bones, and he was born after taking the qualities of Yama. That's why he has been also called as Dharmaraja, because he was the one and he was eldest of the Pandavas, and he has been respected very much by all his brothers, and that is why
Can
whatever
you
he
put on
did.
your video, madam? Can you put on your video? Sorry, so that
Yeah,
everybody can see you.
yes,
Yes, madam. Thank you.
yeah, that is why he's been respected by the Pandavas, all his
You're not,
brothers.
you're not visible. There's too much light on your. Wonderful.
He was the eldest son of the Yudhishthira. I mean, he was
Hmm.
the eldest of the Pandavas, and he has been respected by everybody as the Dharmaraja. And it's also been known that he has been known for the truth. That is why even in the battlefield, Dronacharya, when everybody said Ashwatthama was killed, he never believed until Yudhishthira he went and asked Yudhishthira what actually happened. So that was the state of Yudhishthira, which he earned due to his characters. And number two is his chariot always but about 10 inch above the earth because of all the righteousness which he earned. That was when he said that Ashwatthama was killed. I don't know whether it was human or horse. Then that time, even though he intently had to lie, that was the moment when his chariot came down to touch the earth. That was one incident which I remember, and that is he was also sent to the hell for one day since because he had to lie because of that war. And he was such a king that he had to obey even the game dice, playing dice, because it was the king Dhritarashtra who had invited him. So in those days, it was such an a respect for all the elders that we have to state whatever they've been told. So that is why he couldn't avoid playing game of the dice when not invited by Dhritarashtra. He could have at least he could have refused. He knew that very well that he was going to get into a trap even the second time. But somehow, because of those days, you have to follow the rules and you have to take the words of the elders. He was invited, and he had a slight weakness towards gambling. That is why he had to. That is what, according to me, that is why he was no little taken aback, and even after losing the initial games, had to witness. But otherwise, Yudhishthira was a great person of wisdom because he was able to retrieve all his brother's life during the Daksha. That was one of the most best things that happened. And even in entire Bhagavad Gita, the Vishnu Sahasranama and the Yaksha Dakshina was all because of Yudhishthira. Those two came, the Viduraniti and the Vishnu Sahasranama and the conversation were the three important highlights of the Bhagavad Gita, and two was due to King Yudhishthira. And Yudhishthira, that is all what I know. And he was such a competent and righteous person. He was able to rule the kingdom even after the war, though he blamed himself for the reason of the war. But somehow he was able to get the best teachings from. And one more thing is why Krishna was not the charioteer for Yudhishthira was because he would not allow Krishna to play all the tricks, because he was such a person who wanted to be truthful always. But during the war, it was such that Krishna had to trick. And that is why he opted Arjuna rather than Yudhishthira to be the charioteer.
Okay. So can I ask some questions? First, I request everybody other than Meena madam to please mute your audio because it's become very difficult to. There's a lot of cross. There is cross. This. So please mute your microphones. Okay, madam. First, let's start with dharma. Okay. So we are talking about Treta Yuga to Kali Yuga, right? Ah. Sir, Ramchandran sir, please mute your phone, no, sir. Please, please.
I'm trying. I don't know where I'm gone wrong.
Okay, okay, okay. So now dharma is akin to a cow, and at each yuga, one leg disappears. If I'm not wrong. So Satya Yuga, it was on four legs. Then at the end of Satya Yuga, one leg went. At Dwapara Yuga, one leg went. Treta Yuga to Kali Yuga, one leg went, and now the cow is standing on one leg. I am completely in understanding of that. Now, my question to you is that Dharma is uh, he was Dharmaraja's son, that is
Yeah.
Yama's son. Now, he was a competent king. There is no doubt about that. He was well versed in Kshatriya Dharma. Now, the question is, what is Kshatriya Dharma? Kshatriya Dharma says a king must fight to keep his kingdom. That is his duty, number one. Number two, a king must take risk. So the question of him playing because the elders told him, I am not willing to buy that. As you rightly said, he was actually he enjoyed it and he played it and he took the risk of playing it because he was a king. I also agree with you that in the Yaksha case, he displays enormous amount of wisdom. Incidentally, the Vishnu Sahasranama is Bhishma's reciting to Yudhishthira the way a king must conduct himself. So it is actually Bhishma giving tuitions to Yudhishthira. And then lastly, I mean, if where I have a point difference of opinion with you is that um, if Yudhishthira did not want to break dharma, he should have clearly told Sri Krishna that I am not going to lie to Dronacharya. Number one. Number two, I don't think Krishna did not go become a charioteer of Yudhishthira because Yudhishthira it would have been hard and things like that. It was Sri Arjuna who asked, Arjuna who went. Arjuna and Duryodhana were at the either end of the bed, and he said, "Whether do you want me or do you want my army?" And it was Arjuna Arjuna said, I want you. So I think, and there is no evidence anywhere in Mahabharata that Yudhishthira asked him to be his charioteer. Do you have any evidence?
No, sir. But that is what, because they had being a elder, he was the eldest of the Pandavas. So probably Krishna could have chose Yudhishthira, and he was also the Dharmaraja. He was also the king. He was supposed to be
He
crowned
was
as
not
the
a
king.
king. He was not a king.
He was supposed
He
to be
was not
crowned.
a king. He was
He was
he was he was an aspirant king. He was not a king. He had no kingdom.
later on, after the war, see, he was only the next heir to the kingdom. There was nobody else. According to the hierarchy, Yudhishthira was the one who has to be crowned. Eventually, after Dhritarashtra, since Dhritarashtra did not allow Yudhishthira, Duryodhana came into line. But actual, according to Pandus, when Pandu returned, Yudhishthira was the heir to the throne.
No, I'm not. See, the problem here is we are so Yudhishthira agreed with Pandu that after him there will be the next generation will go to Pandu's side. Then Duryodhana came and he said, "No way, I am going to be the king." That's what Duryodhana said. Kshatriya Dharma says that does not say that just because you have a right to the kingdom, it has to be given to you.
Yeah,
You have to prove that you are good enough to run a kingdom. So if Duryodhana had given them, then there was no problem. But Duryodhana refused to give them. So at the end of the day, what happened? They had to either fight or leave. Throughout, Duryodhana tried various stratagems to kill them, to do this, to do that, and all that. Whether it is right or not is not important because as a Kshatriya, he is supposed to vanquish his enemy. So it is not wrong. Whatever Duryodhana did throughout Mahabharata, if you will notice, is not wrong. It may not be right, but it is not wrong. According to Kshatriya Dharma, it is not wrong. In fact, in some aspects, he is supposed to be doing like that. It was Yudhishthira and when he went to play the game of dice, which was the final straw, when they were betting on the lives of each other, Sri Krishna knew that the dice was loaded. He told him, "Listen, I'll play for you." But is
but but Krishna was in Dwaraka when that gambling was going on. He was not.
no, he was there. He was
Not
not
sure.
there.
Yes, he was not there. He was not allowed. See, Yudhishthira, King Krishna was in Dwaraka. He was not in the playing area. It was only the kings Bhishma, Drona, all those kings. Dhritarashtra was all the Vidura. Everybody was. I don't think Krishna was
Okay,
there.
I'm a little confused on this one. Please, somebody check. To my understanding, Yudhishthira was warned that this game is loaded. You don't play, but he refused to listen. So I'm not going to. Okay. Maybe I'm wrong, but please check. My understanding is he was told that this game is loaded, don't play it. But he refused to listen to people. Number one. Number two, okay, he started the game. Then he lost whatever little one, two, three, four, five. But he had no right to also put his children, or I mean his brothers as bet, his wife as a bet. It tells you a very weak character, a person who did not have, who had great amount of vivekam, but no vairagyam. So how was he fit to be a king?
So just because see gambling was a game where see Duryodhana initially did not treat this as an no, he always promised that no one more time you will I'll get back to you, I'll give you back, I'll give you back. Those were the promises made by Duryodhana during the start of the game. And only once after it went a little serious that Yudhishthira realized that no, there was something. Then it was too late. However, even when after finishing the game, Duryodhana could have given back everything. But only when he refused, when there was a clash of wars between what he said and what now he did after the game, probably led to the war. Even after the war, even before the war, I think Yudhishthira sent Krishna to know even to give five kingdoms, five houses, five. And he declined everything, even if the drop of no, single piece of land, he Duryodhana refused. Then
Correct. That the king is that is Duryodhana, that is the Kshatriya Dharma. That I am not going to share anything with you. That's no problem. I got no issues with that. The issue is not Dharma, the Duryodhana. The issue is Yudhishthira. Because Yudhishthira consistently proves himself to be somewhat of a weak person as an
no
individual.
karma, probably that inherent quality which he developed towards gambling. I think everybody know he might be such a big person, but even one flaw has to be there. Then he'll be amount to Lord. Then that is what I think.
Okay. There's no right and wrong in this, Meena madam. There's no right and wrong. It's actually what we are doing is trying to understand Vivekam, Vairagyam, the qualities of an individual, so that we imbibe those qualities within ourselves, so that we can then practice chapter 3 better. That's all. Ramchandran
That was
sir.
I think that was the weakness which Yudhishthira had, and that weakness led to the biggest Yuddha.
Okay. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much for this very It was a very interesting discussion. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ramchandran sir.
Now, I just wanted to point out
Hmm.
that Yudhishthir had a name Dharmaraja even before he became the king. The king
Correct.
he became only at the end. So there are
Correct.
some qualities in him which which people call him as the Dharmaraja. I think we
Correct.
should concentrate on that one to find out why he was called as Dharmaraja, and that is the
Perfect. So here
yeah.
we have got two parts. The what is the dharma that he's talking about? He's talking about Kshatriya Dharma. Okay. Kshatriya Dharma is the dharma that a king should have. So the king has multiple roles to play. If you will see the constitution of India, we have three. One is as the power center. Second is as an administrative center. Third is the ability to dispense justice. All these three Yudhishthira had. Where the problem is therefore not in his knowledge of being a king of Dharma. The problem here was that as an individual, he did not have, though he knew everything theoretically, his ability to actually implement it and bring control to himself as a king was very weak. What do you think?
Yeah, that's perfectly correct. He had everything in him, but he could not do anything with him due to the circumstances.
No circumstances, sir. He had no self-control. If all he had to do was he had to consistently keep his position. I'm not asking for a lot. I want some share so that I can also have a kingdom. This is something that he was unable to consistently say. They were negotiating, and every time Duryodhana was using every stratagem. A king has to use stratagem. He has to make sure that he defeats the opponent by variety of means. That's part of Kautilya. After all, Chanakya's book talks about the various methods the king must adopt in order to defeat his opponent. And this business was completely Kshatriya Dharma. So it was about defeating your opponent in any way that you can. So really, he knew all this. It's not as if Yudhishthira did not know. What Yudhishthira did not do is to take the sufficient defensive measures to ensure that he was consistently protecting himself from being fooled.
Maybe his concept of dharma was to get it in a different manner rather than putting a claim and saying that yes, I should be the king and not anybody else.
But he
Maybe
did
that
put
was
in
an
a claim.
aberration.
He did put in a claim. He said, "Give me five villages. I will be the king of that five villages."
No, that was much later on. No? That
No,
was
no.
much later
Initially,
on.
initially, what did he say? He said, "I'm going to be the king." Duryodhana told him, "Go to hell." Then afterwards, he invited him to the wax palace. This that he tried to get rid of them. It didn't work. So slowly, what happened? These people also realized that it's going to be very hard to live with Duryodhana. So they said, "Okay, boss, let's come to an agreement. You give me five villages, and I'll keep my mouth shut." Duryodhana didn't go to hell because he said, "What are these people going to be able to do?" He fundamentally Duryodhana's respect for Yudhishthira kept going down, or the Pandavas kept going down as they started, negotiating and started to lose at every stage. That's basically what happened, isn't it? It happens even in the world today. Look at what is happening between Iran, Israel, Russia, Ukraine. For as long as Ukraine was getting multiple this, they said, okay, you must get out of Donbass. For as long as US was supplying them with ammunition, these people were fighting. The minute the fellows have stopped, what happened? These people are now retreating. It's essentially Kshatriya Dharma, no?
Right.
What do
No,
you, don't you? Hmm.
no, that's okay. That's what I'm saying. Duryodhana, as the son of this Dhritarashtra, he put in his claim saying that he is the eldest son. So, as per dharma, he should get the kingdom.
Correct.
Now, Yudhishthir, he was not a direct descendant from the family.
No,
right?
sir, he
It
is
was
a son
only
of Pandava, sir. He is a son
no,
of
he's a
Pandava.
Pandava, okay, but he was not the son of Pandu.
But
He
that
was the
is
son
never
of
coming there.
Duryodhana.
I agree,
No,
but then nowhere is that being ever brought out in Mahabharata as a issue.
no, that I agree. And that I totally agree that nobody has raised an objection on that. But I'm
Hmm.
pointing out that yes, Duryodhana had a point that he's not a direct son, isn't it? Of course, he didn't know about it,
No,
right?
but this was never made into an issue. So really, we should not take this into argument. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, nobody knew about it. No, that's the problem.
Huh, but
Nobody knew
then we
about it.
shouldn't take it as an argument. No, if we take it as an argument, then we have multiple things that then it becomes complicated because we have to look at what happened. If Duryodhana said you are the son of Yamaraja and so you have no business to be, you are not son of Pandu, that's a different game. Because then, but he never says any of this. Even if he knew, it was never brought up. So I don't think we should really be looking at something that is
Okay,
not. Otherwise, we'll complicate the whole thing beyond, then there is
right,
no
right, right.
speculation.
Okay. Right, right. You're right there.
Okay, Lalita madam is not there. Kala madam, difference between Pandavas and Kauravas. Is Kala madam here?
Yeah. Namaste, sir.
Yes, madam.
Uh,
Namaste.
yeah.
Please put on your video so that everybody can see you.
Okay. Yes, sir. Uh, actually, in terms of the basic difference, see, basically, I don't know whether I'm right or not. What I feel is these are all symbolic characters. They represent basically. So, Pandavas represents the five elements, and that is one thing. So they represent five elements in this world, and the Draupadi represents a normal human being with various emotion. That's one thing I understood. Then uh, Kauravas were very uh, uh, they did not they were very mean, and they did not follow the books, or they did not follow anything. They were avaricious and greedy, and they never felt like sharing anything, even to give that um, uh, five villages and all that. They were so mean, and they were actually I think they were probably symbols of adharma. So I don't know, my perception is just that. I don't, not much of ideas of.
Okay. Look, on the Pandavas, I just have one small thing to
Yeah.
this, and I had mentioned it in this. If you read Srimad Bhagavad Purana,
Yes, sir.
in I think chapter 9 or 11,
Mm.
they talk about the history of Pandavas and Kauravas. Now, I can assure you that both Pandavas and Kauravas are descended from the last child of Yayati and Sarmishta. Okay, so I have done a calculation of I've actually taken each person in this, and if you take 3100 BC as Sri Krishna's, as the start of Kali Yuga when Sri Krishna passes away,
Mm.
and work backwards, it comes to roughly 3900 BC when Puru was the king, and he made Bharat basically, and these are descended from Nila, and those kind of people they come. Draupadi, I can assure you, is what they call Panchala. There's a kingdom called Panchala. Panchala in today's world, this is Farrukhabad. That is, the Ganga splits Panchala into two halves, and Dharmishta was the guy who made that kingdom, and he had these two above and below Ganga, and there were five brothers. First was a guy called Mudgala. Second, I forget his name. Third was a guy called Kampila, which is why their capital was called Kampila. Even today, the city of Kampila exists in Farrukhabad district in Uttar Pradesh. So Draupadi was the great 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 granddaughter of Mudgala. So these are not what you call imaginary figures. They are real people who existed at a particular time in our history. So this is the only place where I have a little difference of opinion with you. And as you rightly said, I mean, it's as far as I'm concerned, I don't see the Pandavas and Kauravas as different. It is just that Kauravas, the Dhritarashtra became king, and this guy would not allow Yudhishthira to be a king, and so they fought. I don't see basically any major difference between the two of them. This is my view of the whole cousins. They seem to be the same, except that the parentage of the Pandavas came from exalted individuals, so they had more in terms of skill sets, in terms of capability. But as individuals, I'm unable to see the difference between the two of them.
Sir, actually, Dhritarashtra's first one, and the other fellow,
Duryodhana,
Duryodhana.
Duryodhana.
Duryodhana was very avaricious, selfish. He was very arrogant. He could be easily manipulated and all that. And he
How do you know? No, 1 minute. I agree with you. The avaricious is. How are you saying he could be manipulated?
Because he behaved the way Shakuni Mama wanted. He did not discriminate between good and bad. He blindly believed and listened to him, and he was highly pampered. He demanded everything from his father, and to the extent that father and mother were very scared of him. And he was also a very disobedient person. There is a case in which Gandhari says, "Okay, let me give you the power. Let me. I will remove my blind eye, the bandage, and I will give you the power. A power which will give you all the might to fight again." At that time, he wore his undergarment or something, and so that is
That
the
is because Sri Krishna told him. Sri Krishna knew why he was going there. So he said, if you go, unless she's your mother, how can you go naked? So he put he covered his
correct. So
waist.
that's what he did not use his comments. Viveka, he could be easily manipulated. Any fool can. A king is not a person who should be manipulated, sir. A king should have set of values, and he
Yes.
should. So he's a person who could be easily
Okay.
manipulated, and there are so
Madam,
many things can
madam,
disturb him.
madam, madam. Okay, let's take some examples of who we are. We've got Stalin, we've got Rahul Gandhi, we've got Modi, we've got Indira Gandhi, we had Jawaharlal Nehru, we had Mahatma Gandhi. Let me ask you a very simple question. In all of them, we know all of them. All these people are powerful people. Mamta Banerjee. They are all powerful people. What is the biggest quality you see in these people? They are all Kshatriyas. They are, even though they may be various other jati, they are all ultimately followers of Kshatriya Dharma. What is the fundamental quality you see in all of them?
So some there many of them are
No, no,
anti.
no, no. In Swabhava. Their quality as individuals. Don't go
Yeah.
into specifics, go into generics.
Okay, they are avaricious, they are greedy, and they want to be in the power hook or by crook, and they don't want to give up. They don't want to give up anything, sir. They want, and they will work according to their whims and fancies, like Duryodhana, no matter what. Somehow they want the work to be, and they never admit their mistake. They are highly egoistic. They will. That's how they are, very powerful. Whereas a person, intelligent king would be little humble and ready to learn from his mistake. Admit. Where have you seen Duryodhana admitting his mistake?
No, but the point is the number of instances, the number of instances where Duryodhana's character is fleshed out
Hmm.
is very little. Duryodhana in Mahabharata itself does not have much by way of mind space. There's not much that is told about him. So
So,
we have very little data to go through.
Duryodhana can be compared to Rahul Gandhi, who can be easily manipulated by by a Lutein, by a communist, by a
Oh my goodness!
yeah.
No, no, no,
So
no,
that
no, no. We are not getting there. We are
yeah,
not getting into specifics.
yeah.
No, no. The point I'm making is all kings. If you have to be a king, arrogance, power, all of this
But you,
is
Kshatriya should follow Raj Dharma, sir. You cannot be
what
Raj.
is Rajadharma? The point is, madam, the issue here is very straightforward. The number of kings who have actually been balanced is very, very few. Neither Yudhishthira nor Duryodhana were balanced. This is what you just seen. Meena madam and we had a discussion. Yudhishthira knew everything, did not apply.
But
The
can you do one?
Duryodhana knew everything in the end.
Uh,
In the end, when before he dies, he tells Sri Krishna, he says, I knew this, what I was doing was not particularly correct, but I couldn't help it. I wanted it.
so
So the thing
I have
is,
not heard anywhere any good thing what this Duryodhana has done as a king or whatever. What is it one good thing he has done, sir?
I
As a
don't
king?
know.
Ah,
I
that's
see.
I, there are
The
so
point
many
is,
things.
there is no data that says he was not a good king. No, that's the problem.
Uh, so
There is
when
no data.
as a king, when he has not done anything good, can't we just call him Adharmi then?
No, you can't. You don't know if he was a good king or a bad king. You just
But
know that he became a king and he held on to the kingdom. You don't know
but
how he governed.
in various part of various part of story, we know Yudhishthira is trustworthy. Uh, uh, he,
How? One minute, one minute. No, no, no. We don't know if Yudhishthira was a good king either. There is no data.
but
We
he was
don't
a
know.
good person. At least he can go by the textbooks.
The only thing he have that he knew his business that we know
Exactly.
because of the yaksha and all the other things that he really was a wise guy. He knew
Yes.
the job.
Yeah.
But the problem again, madam, in management we have this thing: effective versus efficient. Okay,
Mm.
efficient people know everything. If you will go to many places and they will tell you the rules, this, that, everything. But you put them in a job and ask them to deliver, they'll mess it up. Yudhishthira was like this. He knew everything properly. But did he actually deliver? We don't know. Now the thing is that we don't know if Duryodhana knew or did not know. That is the only problem. Whether he knew or he did not know. The thing is that there is a fact that we don't have enough data. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kala madam. I'm sorry if I put you
No,
halt
sir,
you over
it's
the
all a
show.
learning experience. It's all a learning experience.
So,
Yeah.
so we are all learning at the same time, and
Absolutely.
now we need to ultimately. It's pointless again. Then we become Yudhishthira because we are all doing intellectual, intellectual work instead of translating that into practical, applicable things. So we have to, at the end of this day, bring it back to how we can apply in our daily lives. Anand sir, do you have anything to say? Anand sir.
Yeah, sorry. Trying to unmute. Just 3 points I wanted to make. One is
Hmm.
the other day also and today also you have been saying that Duryodhana has been following Dharma, Yudhishthira did not. But if you really see in Mahabharata, Duryodhana created the house of wax. It
Hmm.
was adharmic, very clearly. There was no Kshatriya Dharma there. He tried to
Who
kill
told you
the
that? Who
Pandavas.
told you that? Oh, no, 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 1 minute. On what basis are you saying this?
Obviously, Mahabharata says house of wax that was created under Shakuni's instruction.
Correct.
He
But
did that. No?
on what is the basis you are saying it is not correct?
He tried to kill the Pandavas. No, that is Kshatriya
Correct.
Dharma.
That is correct.
No,
So
no. See, when
that.
you say dharma, one second, let me complete and then you interrupt. When you
Hmm.
say dharma, Kshatriya
Hmm.
war you talked about, they had Shakundi, who is that? Shikandi in front of Bhishma. You protested all that. So, like that, you don't kill people when they are sleeping at night by creating a house of wax to kill them. That is number one. We'll argue later. Number two, during the war, Abhimanyu was surrounded by 9 people. That is not the act of Kshatriya Dharma. Kshatriya Dharma, you
Correct.
don't do that. So there are
Correct.
two
Agreed.
glaring instances in Mahabharata that Duryodhana as the king was adharmic, very clearly. I'm proving
No,
that
there is
point.
no. It is not clear. It is
Yeah,
not clear at
absolutely.
all.
Why? Why? In Kshatriya Dharma, if you are
One
saying
minute. Where does it
Yudhishthira did
say
not
that?
follow Kshatriya Dharma, and same thing
No, one
Duryodhana did
minute.
not follow.
No, one
One
minute.
second,
If you are
let me
saying,
complete.
uh,
Whereas the data about Yudhishthira you are saying, I
hmm,
think post Mahabharata war, when he took over the kingdom and he ruled
hmm,
the kingdom for several years,
hmm.
maybe it is not projected into big stories, but he was a good, successful king.
How do you know
He,
that? Prove
I
it.
mean, the data is there. I mean, they ruled for so many years.
Where is the
He,
data? Where is the
I mean, in
data?
Mahabharata, you go and read Bhagavatam, it will be there in that.
It is not
I'm
there.
sure.
It is not there.
See, after ruling the kingdom successfully for several years, they were going towards the, uh, a dog walked along with him. All those stories are
That is
there.
when you are dying. That's not the
Yeah,
point.
but then there was an interim
The issue
period when
is
he was a good king. People
here.
were
Here,
happy.
here. No, no. One
I
question.
mean,
The issue is here, sir. Now, the issue here is that you are saying that Kauravas were adharmic because he made a house of wax and tried to kill the Pandavas. That is the job of a king to eliminate his enemies. However, he does
and
it.
then that is exactly what Pandavas did when they put Sikandi in camp
Exactly. So
for
the thing is that there is
Neccessary.
no
You
difference
cannot
between them.
say, you said Kshatriya Dharma, he didn't follow. That is what you are accusing Yudhishthira.
No, no, no. One minute.
See,
One minute.
I am.
1 minute. What I'm trying to say. 1 minute. What I'm trying to say. I didn't say that Yudhishthira did not follow Kshatriya Dharma. I am saying Yudhishthira knew everything, but did was very poor in
The
implementation.
entire Mahabharata war was fully adharmic from both the sides. Finally we
Yes.
said
Then
the
we don't have
Dharma
an
won.
argument. No, no. It is actually dharmic from both sides. It is not adharmic at all. You do what it takes to win over your enemy. That is what Sri Krishna says in the end, also in chapter 18. If you go and read it, he says this is the essence of what
Yeah,
we consider dharma to be. I say this is an interesting question. What do we consider dharma to be? So, okay, now Lakshmi Madam and Kala Ramdas. Okay, Lakshmi Madam first.
Um, yes, sir. Sir, while listening to everyone, I was also noting down a few of my own, take on those points, and I just
Perfect.
noted them down when everyone was talking. So I will just share my views on the whole thing.
Okay.
Also, I took note of some of the questions you had mentioned in the WhatsApp group, which you asked us to ponder upon about what is karma, what is dharma, and all that. So, sir, I'll try to put it shortly. The thing is, somewhere we are forgetting that all these people, be it Kauravas or Pandavas, they were all finally human beings.
Correct.
So, all human beings come with good and bad. It
Baggage.
cannot it cannot be that a Yudhishthira will not have anything bad in him. Similarly, Duryodhana has good. In fact, I was thinking of some good that he might have done. One thing which struck me as good about Duryodhana is he was very good to Karna. When
Yes.
nobody stood with Karna, he stood with him till the very end. And what was his, in fact, if you just look at him without bias, what did Duryodhana do wrong? He just wanted to retain his kingdom. See, what happens is we all psychologically, I feel, we tend to think Pandavas are superlative, almost godlike, only because they were all fathered by different gods like Surya or Indra or Vayu.
Point.
Whereas the poor Kauravas came
However,
out of that lump of flesh after many years and put in pots. So you see, somewhere in our subconscious, we think they are not even real kids. I don't. This is my feelings.
yes,
so,
interesting.
so we are already prejudiced right from the way they were born. Okay, somewhere, and that plays in our mind. Second thing, sir, even Krishna. Now, Mahabharata's whole purpose, if you ask me, is only to teach mankind what happens when we deviate from the laid down Dharma Shastra, or for want of a better word. See, the Mahabharata is trying to teach us if we get too greedy, if we try to take somebody else's wealth by hook or crook, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, it brings destruction only. That is what Mahabharata is trying to teach us. in the process, it also taught us about how arrogance and all these things can cost one. Now, Yudhishthira. By the way, I also googled when you told us about where Krishna was. There was a talk, no, Meenu ma'am was telling. Krishna
Mm.
was apparently that I noted down. He was fighting, busy fighting some king Shalva,
Oh, Shalva. Okay. Mm.
who was a close friend of Shishupala during this game of
Yes.
dice. That I just saw. But whatever it is, even Krishna says, unless you call me, I will not come. Most of the time we have arrogance that we'll try. So here Yudhishthira tried to do something by his own might. There it was his arrogance. He thought he owned his wife. In fact, I don't know if this story is correct, but I have read somewhere, I forget the source, sir. Bhima apparently loved Draupadi the most. Though
Yes.
Draupadi loved Arjuna,
No,
Bhima,
no, it is the other way around.
oh, no, what I have,
Because when she falls first, Arjuna, Yudhishthira asks, no, Arjuna asks Yudhishthira, why did she die first? She says that he was partial to Bhima.
huh. Oh, she was partial. Okay, but the version which I remember is Bhima felt so bad that Yudhishthira played Draupadi as one of this thing in that game of dice that he went and burnt Yudhishthira's hand in anger. This is to be verified, sir, but this is something I've heard as a
I have not heard
youngster.
this.
I've heard
Okay.
the story as a youngster, but I just thought I will ask you in this forum.
No,
Others
I
only
don't.
may know.
I
So,
don't know.
so here, if you
Interesting.
see, sir, everybody had a weakness. Be it
Yes.
even, in fact, I appreciate Duryodhana for completely relying on Shakuni. He was non-judgmental about his mama. He believed in his mama's wisdom and the experience which that person's age gave him, and just listened to him without ego. These people couldn't do it in spite of having Krishna with them. This fellow,
Correct.
all the other five had a certain ego.
Even in fact, after Bhagavad Gita also,
Uh,
Arjuna does not have full confidence in Sri Krishna.
Exactly. See, sir, in spite of that, he did not. So, in spite of having a godlike figure with them and knowing somewhere that he is that, they couldn't rely on him fully. So, this is what I feel. So, basically, in this war between karma and dharma, dharma is our state of peace, as you taught us, that equanimity. Karma is what we actually do. When there is a imbalance between this karma and dharma, that is when the problem comes up, isn't it? So
Excellent.
uh, so
Excellent.
so that is my feeling, sir, as we all spoke. That was one point I wanted to say. And somewhere I also, sir, agree with some of the conversations that happened in WhatsApp about the predestiny thing. Now suppose,
Oh, Prarabdha Karma. No, no, no. We have been not, let's not go into
let's
Prarabdha
not go
Karma
there.
now.
Okay, okay, I'll
Let's
not
not
go
go
there.
into Prarabdha
So,
Karma right now.
okay, sir. So I will probably, end my point with this, that let us
Okay.
not take any of them as gods, first of all. None of them are ideals there. None of them, by Pandavas or Kauravas. Even Lord Krishna, when he took the form of Lord Krishna, he is God. When he took the form of Lord Krishna, he also came with certain frailties. So if he was trying to be partial also, it is part of his larger Leela to teach mankind.
Actually, here Sri Krishna comes with as three people. Now, three.
Uh-huh.
It is a package of three. We will go
Uh-huh.
into Sri Krishna a little later. I know. I
Little
don't
bit.
want to confuse the whole thing. We'll go
Yes,
to
sir.
Kala Madam and then Ramchandran sir and then
Yes.
Ramchandran sir. When you take over, you please talk about your question.
Yes.
Is it justified to use a dharma to get dharma? Is a very interesting question. So last, so you will take now, Kala Madam. I think you had something to say.
Yes,
Thank you.
let's say, we have understood various aspects of
Video,
Duryodhana.
video, video, video.
Okay, we have understood various aspects of Yudhishthira, various aspects of Dhritarashtra and his son Duryodhana. Now, according to whatever we have read, the little information I have, Duryodhana was extremely greedy, selfish, and he would not give anything to anybody. So finally, under pressure, there was a time that he had to give something. He gave some five villages,
Villages.
five villages, which was absolutely a barren land, a worthless, useless, a barren land which um, uh, was can be condemnable in any
No,
aspect of.
madam, that's not true. Do you know which of those five villages that these people asked?
uh,
Gurugram, that is what is today called Gurgaon,
Gurgaon.
Faridabad, and places like that is what they have asked
He
for.
asked. Now, initially, these places were supposed to be very barren, like
They are on the
deserts.
banks of Yamuna.
Yes, but it had been transformed. It had been irrigated. They found various ways to make it prosperous. That is
Okay.
how it is. So they have transformed even the horrible barren places into this. That is, we are quoting that with great pride. So this is the transformation we can see, that the barren kind of land has, and that is why Hastinapur, even Indraprastha, all that has been transformed by able five Pandavas. That
No,
is
no, no. Hastinapur was created.
Indraprastha.
Indraprastha, yes, but
Yes,
Hastinapura
is
was
actually
started by a person called Hasti.
Hasti.
Hasti was about 10 generations before Pandavas. So, okay, I have nothing to say on this.
Okay, thank
Ramchandran sir, Ramchandran sir,
Yeah, coming on, coming on.
sir, please put on your video.
Can you see me now?
Yes, sir. You need to put the light on your face.
It is right opposite. Wait, I got a
Okay, Meena madam. We'll sorry, we are going to miss you.
Let's have to go because of tomorrow's New Year preparation. We have to go. Thank you for the beautiful discussions. I will keep listening to the recordings, and still I need to know whether Pandavas are good or bad. Still, we are confused.
Neither. I don't think we will come to any conclusion.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Ramchandran sir.
Right. You gave me a very difficult subject to talk about. Now,
No,
why
because
don't
you started it. You said that you can use Adharma to get Dharma. That's why I
right.
asked you to talk about it.
Okay. Now, basic fundamental thing is, do we know what dharma is? The
Hmm.
point is, dharma is something which has never been written in the form of a script, in the form of a book or anything, but it exists. It is there, right? Dharma is basically something which has come about and which is accepted amongst the society or community or among the religious community, whatever it is. Each community has its own dharma, right? But the basic fundamental thing I would say is something which is acceptable in a human transaction, within a what you call a social intercourse. That is what amounts to dharma. Now there are so many things which come into dharma. We don't understand dharma because we don't know dharma. It's only thing, a practice which we have got right from our samskara, and it has come onto the samsara also. Now, for example, when we talk about dharma, when the animal eats man, it is okay. When the man eats animal, that is also okay. But man eating man is not acceptable, right? But man himself. So that is something what the dharma says. Man does not eat man, but it accepts man eating animal, man eating fish, whatever it is, right? So the basic thing is when we say dharma, it is something between good and bad, something which is right and wrong, something which is acceptable, not acceptable, something which is, I mean, it's very difficult to say. So these are the basic things on which it is going around. So it's what is dharma, what is adharma is very difficult to say. What is dharma for you may not be dharma for me. I am a vegetarian, but my friends are not vegetarian. They are not vegetarians. That doesn't mean they are adharma. So it is something which is in a fluid state. There are certain things which are acceptable. So we live by those principles. And it goes on from generation to generation and again not written down. Now, the basic point is, can adharma be used to uh, set right dharma? I would say yes. I would very strongly say yes. For one simple reason, right? My concept of adharma is difficult, may be right, may not be right. Now, for the past half an hour, 45 minutes, you have been saying that Duryodhana is correct in whatever he has done is dharmic because it's Kshatriya Dharma, right? But I would not accept that. I would say at the present stage, Kshatriya Dharma is something when you are face to face, not hitting behind the back, not hitting behind. That is the Kshatriya Dharma, right? So the concept itself is difficult. So what happens is now once you get into that sort of a muddle, right? Setting right the dharma, because dharma itself is not understood properly, adharma itself is not understood properly. It is okay if you use adharma to set right dharma. Like I made a point in the message in the posting. If there is a thorn in the leg, you need to use a thorn or a needle to pull out the thorn, right? So that is what is you're using adharma to set right the dharma. This much I have to say. Kindly correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay, no, there's no right and wrong, boss. So the issue here is very straightforward. In terms of adharma, what I have to say is very first of all, there is no such thing as duality. Okay, no, I'm going to just now. Um, let me start with the definition of dharma. Okay, if another 15 minutes, we'll try and wrap up. Now, धारणात् धर्म धर्म धारणात् धर्म इत्याहु धर्मो धारयति प्रजाः. Basically, this is from the Mahabharata. Now, the thing is that anything that retains, anything that holds, is dharma. Now, there is one thing that we constantly forget when we talk about Hindu dharma, and that, you see, unlike the Western concepts where everything is material, in our system, everything is cognitive. The root of all existence is cognitive. So, if it is cognitive, we have to go to the root of the word dharma. The root or the dhatu of the word dharma is dhru. Dhru means that which is dhrudam, that is which is steadfast, that which is which is unshakable. So this is not just physically unshakable; it's psychosomatically unshakable. It is something that is meant to be its natural state. The natural state of anything is its dharma. Number one. That means that, so there are three types of dharma. One is called Samanya Dharma, the second is called Vishesha Dharma, and the third is called Swadharma. What is Samanya Dharma? Samanya Dharma, for example, the heart is meant to pump blood. That is the dharma of the heart. The heart is meant to pump blood. That is the dharma of the heart. The heart of a cow is meant to pump blood in a cow. That's its natural state. The heart of a cow cannot pump blood inside a pig, even though it is a heart. It is only the heart of a pig which can pump blood inside a pig. Lastly, my heart can pump blood only inside me. That is my dharma, my swadharma. That heart is configured for me. So this is one of the most important thing we need to understand about dharma. Dharma is the natural state of anything, not just human beings. The earth is supposed to hold. This laptop is supposed to communicate. It's the dharma of the laptop. You can use the laptop like a table tennis bat, but it will break the laptop. So the thing is that each and every entity has a uh, has a natural state, And that natural state will ensure that it works in a particular manner. Ramchandran sir, have you understood the meaning of dharma? It is a
Yeah.
natural state. Okay. Now, when you are not in that natural state, let's take in terms of the human body. The human body or the human being is supposed to have a natural state of blood pressure of 120 by 80. The blood sugar is supposed to be less than 100. Their temperature is supposed to be whatever, 98.6. If you move out of that, that state is called homeostasis. It is the dharma of the body. When you move out of that stasis, there is turbulence. You get high blood pressure, your heart rate increases, you get destabilized. It is called turbulence. It is a turbulence. It creates a chaos. And the body struggles to come back, which is why we have been practicing yoga to ensure that the body does not get destabilized very fast. So the question really is that when you have a stimulus which throws you off balance, what it creates is chaos or adharma. So adharma is anything that throws you of the um, the controlled state of existence. This is something that we need to understand. Now let us take this basic theory into the Kshatriyas. So one second, Ramchandra sir, let me finish and then I'll answer your question. In terms of the Kshatriyas, what happened? What is Kshatriya Dharma? Now, I'm in terms of Kshatriya Dharma, I'm not. I'm for administration. I'm taking the words of what do you call for Kshatriya Dharma. I'm taking the words of Yudhishthira, but also Arthashastra of Kautilya. A king, the first job of a king is to keep the kingdom. The reason for this is if the people are not kept in a secure environment, they will not be able to live in a happy manner. So they need stability at the top. One of the major reasons why India has progressed so well in the past 10 years is because of the stability we've had. So the thing is that stability at the top ensures prosperity at the bottom. This is something that Arthashastra very clearly says that the king has to first retain his seat. Arthashastra also tells you a slew of measures which a king must do in order to make sure that he reaches. That means he has to use every stratagem that he has in order to retain his seat. Lastly, then we come to the question of what is adharma for a Kshatriya? And that clearly Sri Krishna, in terms of battlefield, is running away from the battlefield. Cowardice is not acceptable for a Kshatriya. Another thing that is not acceptable but is not written in Srimad Bhagavad Gita is being stupid, in the sense that somebody is calling you to do something, you know that it is going to hurt you, you go ahead and do it. So something like this is considered to be a dharma. The war, if you really see, both sides used stratagem, but there you are not supposed to do certain things when the enemy with the enemy. In most of the cases, the Kauravas fought very dharmically. It was the Pandavas who actually killed all the top generals using stratagem which is not dharmic. So that is adharma because you are not only Ashwatthama. I agree. Ashwatthama's death in Kaurava, with as far as Kauravas are concerned, is a blot. But everything else, including killing of Duryodhana, okay, Sri Krishna told him, why are you going there in this manner? But thereafter, Bhima had no right to hit him below the waist because Kshatriyas are not allowed to hit each other below the waist. So the thing is that here you have a lot of subtleties. If you start looking at dharma from first principles, which is dhra, that which is steadfast, and then you apply that to a king, then the whole business of dharma and adharma in Mahabharata takes a very different turn. Ramchandran sir, you wanted to say something?
I was just reflecting on what Anand sir said, that
Mhm.
Duryodhana was not doing, was continuously doing something adharmic. But then
Mhm.
you made a comment that being a Kshatriya, he can do it because that is the dharma of a Kshatriya.
Correct.
I just wanted to point out that killing a person or killing anything is the job of a butcher, not of a Kshatriya. Kshatriya has got a much major role to do dharmically.
Sir, actually, no, here we are getting sentimental, sir. The king has to have, so the king has multiple roles to play. If you are saying that the king is not supposed to be a butcher, suppose he is also a judge. He has to judge. So suppose somebody comes and says that this man has killed somebody in the village, and he brings him. He has to give dandam, no? He has to say that you are going to be hung by your death, by your neck until you are dead.
No,
So
no,
that
no.
is
There's a difference. There's a difference. There is a difference in the sense there to get dharma, you're using adharma, right? But in the case of Duryodhana, there was no adharma, but he was trying to establish his dharma, right?
correct. Which is what's wrong with that?
Right. And what was the manner in which he was doing it? Trying to get
See,
rid of the Pandavas.
if that
And
is
that,
that is primarily what a person does. No, what is Modi ji trying to do? Get rid of Congress. That's
right, but
basically
he's
what
not
he's
killing
doing.
them. He's
No,
not
no,
getting
no.
rid of them.
That you don't know. Okay, we don't know anything how they're doing it. Okay, but the point I'm making is that the stratagem, if you will see, is they use different strategies at different times. If you are saying that killing is wrong, then you if you read the Artha Shastra, you will see that most of what the king is supposed to do is actually very tough, very hard work. Then that is
Now,
wrong.
I go only in one principle. To set right, to get dharma, if you indulge in adharma, that is killing, then it is perfectly okay. That much
How
I
can
can
that
say.
be? Okay, what is the basis? See, I
Very
gave you,
simple.
I explained what dharma is. If you agree with me that this is the definition of dharma,
Right. Okay. You
if you
want the natural.
agree,
I agree with that. It's a very simple and straightforward explanation. Okay. So what I'm saying is, when you are saying it should be the natural state, right? And when it's not in the natural state, it becomes chaotic.
correct,
Right. So to get it back from the chaotic to the natural, what you do is dharma.
correct. No,
Right.
no, no,
So
no, no.
that's
Yeah, correct. Correct. So to bring back the gyroscope into the equilibrium is what we actually take is dharma.
right. So to that extent, dharma killing is okay. That's what I'm saying.
Correct, it's okay.
Right. But when you're killing to bring, which brings chaos, that is wrong.
When you kill to bring chaos, but then you'll have to look at the root cause. You cannot see, you're looking at the symptom. You have to look at the root cause. So the outcome, the tool used is violence. But then you have to look at the root cause.
See, if it's going to bring chaos, it means the root cause for the chaos is wrong.
No, not necessarily. You see, the thing is that the Pandavas had an option. They could have said, okay, we give up everything and walk away.
Oh, that is
But
surrender. That is
that option was
that is
available.
not Kshatriya. That is not a Kshatriya's thing.
Exactly. So the thing is that at one point, Modi and Allah, they have to come to a point where they're going to fight. So the question is really, the fight was inevitable. So the issue then became who was more dharmic in the fight. That's all. We can continue the discussion. Sir, Ramon sir, you want to say
I
something?
just one sentence. Can you say that adharmic means are justified for dharmic ends?
Hmm.
Can you say that? You can use adharmic means.
I don't agree with it.
If the ends
Personally, I would
if
never
the
say
ends
no.
are dharmic, you can do any adharma and then get the dharmic end.
Okay, here there is a small complication which Sri Krishna says. He says, chapter 18, okay, I'll just read that thing out. Chapter 18, verse 18, 17 or 18. It's very, very interesting thing that he says. See this 16 and 17. He who is free from intellectual sentiment of being the doer, ahankara, is not bound by his actions, even if he slays other people. So what he's saying is, if you are doing it without ahankara, then it is not adharma. There is no
Oh,
dharma
yes.
because there is no person there. Purusha is not there. So there is no karma created.
When it comes to dharma, you brought a point about um, someone who, who has no sense of doing it. And Krishna says that when akarma, that thing you told, no? About akarma.
No. Akarma, vikarma, karma, these are three. There is something else. Akarma is inaction.
Okay, so what is that which you do and but with feeling? What is
Vikarma is if you do counter to dharma.
no. Just now you mentioned, sir, that someone does the karma but without the sense of doership. What is that?
That is nirahankara.
Okay. So my thing is, say one person is there who maybe he's very drunk, okay, or not senses for whatever reason, and that,
Madam, we are not able to hear you.
um, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm saying that if a person who is not in his senses, either due to being drunk or due to being whatever altered state he is, and he has committed a crime, okay, he has taken a car and he's run over so many people, okay, so when he comes back to his uh, senses, he will say, oh my god, I did this, oh I didn't even know that I'm doing it. So in such a situation, I know that law will take its own interpretation. I'm not bothered about that. I'm asking about dharma. So per dharma, has he done a crime or he has not done a crime?
Ramchandra sir, can you mute? Can you mute, please? Okay, now, Meenu madam, we have to see that there is a hierarchy of dharma. Dharma is first self,
Hmm.
then you have family, then you have the extended society, then you have the country, so then you have the constitution. So the point is that that's how dharma flows. The rule of law or rule of order that is required flows from that. When that happens, and there is a law which says this, then it is very clearly, I think your question is answered.
Sorry, sir.
I just answered your question. It is the dharma flows from the top. There is an umbrella
No,
dharma.
I am
Then
not
there's
saying that. My question was different. My question was that when a person does something that at the time of execution he was not aware of it for whatever reason, but after executing and then he comes back to his senses, he realizes it and owns that I did this sin.
correct. So you have to pay for it. That's all there is to it. I mean, because it is the way the order is. The entire supra system is in that is the state.
So
So
he
I
does have to
answered
pay
your
for that,
question.
right?
Huh?
So he does have to pay for that in a
Yes,
way.
absolutely, absolutely. Lakshmi madam.
Ha, sir. My feeling is dharma,
Hmm.
I think, is different for different people based on
Correct.
their own interpretation. So even that Islam example that we took, Islam
Hmm.
preaches probably there is only one God and that is Allah and nobody else. So all Muslims may be following Islam with that philosophy, but nowhere Islam would have said that kill others. That cannot be called as dharma. That is interpretation of each person. Like there is a peaceful Muslim also, there is a terrorist Muslim
Yeah,
also.
I have no comments on this because I don't really know.
No,
I'm
no,
not
I
an
am
expert on
generally
Islam. So
taking. No, no,
as Meenu madam said, we
uh,
should not be discussing this subject.
no, no. I am only discussing that point just to bring out my view, since we were discussing that example, that it is based on one's own understanding. Dharma is not something one can lay down. Even the other example about, let's not talk about a terrorist, let's take a person who is fighting in the army. Now, he
Hmm.
is killing somebody from the other country. But the purpose of killing, if you look at the act of killing, it may be wrong. But the purpose is defending one's own
You,
country, isn't it? So, in that
yes,
case,
so there on the battlefield, he is a Kshatriya. The Kshatriya try and understand why Veer Gati. So we go back into what happens when Duryodhana goes into, they all go into heaven and they find Duryodhana in heaven and says, boss, what is this? The thing is that when you fight Viryam, you have to get over the ahankara. If you are all the time worried about whether you are going to die in the battlefield, then you would never fight. But when you fight, there is no individuality at all. There is no individuality. The person is dead. The person is going. If you were afraid of dying, you would not be able to fight. So the thing is, at that point, it is nirahankara. The person is without I. The I is dead. The I is not there.
no, no, sir, I'm not even going into the I element, sir. Just
Hmm.
pure dharma. Dharma, why I am saying this example also is to bring out the point. I feel, I may be wrong,
Hmm.
sir, but I
There are
believe
only
that
right and wrong.
uh,
Hmm.
dharma is individualistic more than
Yes.
one size
Swadharma.
fits all. It cannot be one size fits all, is my feeling now. That's the
Yes.
reason why we view the act of killing as wrong. But in that situation, it's correct. But whereas we see
Correct.
some other situations where people kill someone in a fit of rage, now that is adharma. But again, why it happened and all is debatable or something else altogether. So that's my final
Yeah.
thoughts on this,
Okay.
sir, that we cannot lay down a specific rule. We cannot call anyone dharmic or adharmic. It is a
Without
larger,
understanding it fully.
from their viewpoint. Like even a
Correct.
Shakuni
I
may be
agree. I
right
agree.
in some ways.
Correct.
We
Correct.
don't
I
know.
agree
You
with
ask him, he will tell why he did what he did. So that way. Yes, sir.
you. The
Thank
last
you.
comment, sir. Ramchandran, sir. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Now, I just want to ask one question.
Hmm.
Can we say that when we use our intelligence, it is adharma, but when we use our cleverness and cunningness, then that is becomes adharma?
Sir, I think we should not write it. There's a system called paint brushing. You take a brush and you paint a surface. In this case, it's more nuanced. You have to take a very small brush and play with it. It's not as simple as that because each situation is different. As Lakshmi Madam was talking about, in a war situation is different. In a political situation is different. Now you have seen today this election that is happening. There's a lot of things that are going on. Some of it, and they're all trying to jostle. They're all trying to struggle for something. When you are in a job, you're in a rat race. There also it is a matter of power. You take whatever you have and you try to win. So at the end of the day, the need to win, the ambition, the greed, the need uh, to prove your sense of self that I am worth what I'm doing becomes very, very overwhelming. And so it becomes hard to generalize, in these terms. Do you agree, sir? Ramchandran, sir, do you agree?
Oh, ठीक है, I get the picture. I get the picture. Okay.
Okay, so thank you very much. If there's any more, we can, you all can you can put it on the group. I'm going to end the session here. Thank you very much.